I call this meeting of the Hurst-Euless-Bedford Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Good evening to everyone. Congratulations on everyone for making it at the right time, not at an hour different. Tonight, the Board of Trustees is meeting in a called work session board meeting. The board welcomes and values input from the community. A single open forum will be provided during tonight's meeting to allow the public an opportunity to address the board. During this time, individuals may share comments or requests related to both agenda and non-agenda items. Those addressing the board are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes per meeting. The speaker should identify their name, group affiliation, if any, and make a brief presentation with an identified solution if one is sought. Remarks should be addressed to the board as a whole. Oral presentations may not include charges against any employee or board member by name. It is my responsibility to determine if the person addressing the board has attempted to resolve a concern informally or through the district's complaint policies. If not, the speaker will be directed to follow the appropriate policy. The board requests that all presentations be made in a courteous, respectful, and professional manner and asks that speakers monitor their own behavior. If you wish to speak during the open forum, please fill out one of the cards located on the table in the entry hall. Dr. Harrington, any comments?
The only comment, I'll just remind everyone, we have one of our favorite opportunities is anytime Bell and Trinity face off against each other. And so this Friday, soccer, we've got Bell versus Trinity. So I think the boys are at Bell and the girls are at Pennington.
All right. Any clarifications required?
None at this time.
All right, we're ready for open forum. No cards? All right, then this time the board is going to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to sections 551.074 and 551.076.
Put your number on my card.
At this time, the board will reconvene into open session. We're at item 6.01, consider approval of Director of Quality Learning and Instructional Support beginning for the 2026-2027 school year. I will accept a motion.
I move the board approve the appointment of Dr. Miranda Martin as the Director of Quality Learning and Instructional Support.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to appoint Dr. Miranda Martin as the Director of Quality Learning and Instructional Support as submitted. Please vote. I'm pretty sure it popped up on mine and then it went away. All right. So that motion passes. Dr. Martin, we'd like to give you an opportunity to stand up and introduce those who are here with you.
And then my daughter Chloe and my son Matthew. And then I also got
Congratulations. 6.02, consider approval of Collegiate Academy Principal beginning 2026-2027 school year. I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve Misty Donahue for the Collegiate Academy Principal, 2026-2027 school year. Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve Misty Donahue as the Collegiate Academy Principal as submitted. Please vote. Let's just do a hand vote real quick.
I'm so sorry.
Gotta find meetings somehow.
I'm in, but oh.
Yeah. Okay, well, that motion passes. And again, we'd like to give you the opportunity to introduce who's here with you.
These guys have been with me on this journey. I have my husband Philip, my sister Sherry, my youngest son Corbin, and my oldest son Mason.
Congratulations. I should have said, like, before we started, we're working with a new system up here, so we're going to have, some things happen. But we want to give you an opportunity to go out and take pictures, and I know you probably have dinner plans and stuff, so we won't hold you out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for reports and presentations. 7.01, fentanyl and suicide prevention lessons update. Ms. Odom.
Okay, so. Sorry. Okay. So this is the annual fentanyl and suicide prevention update for the board. This focuses on priority safety and well-being, and the quality indicator number 2, well-being for all students and staff. Just making sure that all students and staff have access to ongoing prevention measures and interventions to support their physical, mental, and emotional well-being when necessary. So this is with House Bill 3908, to where Texas school districts are required to provide annual research-based instruction to all students in grades 6 through 12, focusing on the fentanyl abuse prevention, drug poisoning awareness, and the comprehensive mental health education. So for our elementary campuses, which was 6th grade that received these lessons, it was done through the classroom guidance lessons. Junior high received these lessons during their advisory period, and high school received them during Teams and Trojan Talk. So at this point in time, 100% of our HEB campuses have completed both the suicide prevention and the fentanyl awareness lessons. The Suicide Prevention Awareness Month was back in September, and that lists the topics that it covers. So we want to make sure that students are able to identify the signs and symptoms of depression, also being able to identify trusted adults to talk to, how to maintain good mental health, and then also how to help themselves and their friends stay safe. Every student ID does have the 24/7 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline to where they can call 988 in case if they're ever in crisis. Then you were also provided with the different lessons. So we have a specific lesson for grades 6 through 9 and a separate lesson for grades 10 through 12, along with the teacher guide, so that way y'all had a chance to see how it was presented to the students. And then the month of October was the Fentanyl Poisoning Awareness Month. And once again, those were the topics that were covered, making sure that students understand what fentanyl is, why it is dangerous, and what a lethal dose is, along with what the signs are of an overdose, and then how to help someone that might be experiencing an overdose from fentanyl by administering the Narcan. And then y'all were also provided with the fentanyl lesson, the teacher guide, and then additional resources. Okay, that is it. Are there any questions? No? All right,
Any questions
thank you.
from the board? All right.
No? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, 7.02, Circle Progress Monitoring Middle of Year Report. Dr. Norgard's in the hall.
I just needed a dramatic entrance. Sorry, thank you for that. We were out taking team pictures with our new director joining our team. All right, Circle Progress Monitoring. So it's middle of year, time to come back and talk about the progress of our pre-K students. As a reminder, in this report, it's categorized as on track or needs support. So we're looking at the percent of students who are on track. There's two types of assessment within CLI. The direct observation has to do with the writing skills and the behavior, and then all the others are the direct assessment where they sit down the teacher one-on-one and administers the assessment. Very minimal changes, small fluctuations. Again, these are different groups of students because this is our year-to-year, so this is how we've done in pre-K the last couple of years. We did talk at the beginning of the year when I came and said it was actually amazing that our direct assessments were holding so steady because we continue to see differences in behaviors with our pre-K students and some new challenges like we have not experienced, and we were kind of like, oh, but the behavior assessment looked really strong. What's expected for the students to meet a behavioral expectation at the beginning of the year, compared to what we expect to see from them in the middle of the year changes. So when we look at the direct line and performance, you'll see that change. And then at direct assessment, very similar to the previous year's pre-K performance. So this is what I was mentioning with the behavior. So now this is the cohort. These pre-K students, where they were at beginning of year to middle of year. So they have to check a lot more boxes on the behavior. So now we're actually seeing an indication that is more in line with some of the behaviors if you were to have a discussion with a pre-K teacher about what they're seeing in their classroom. These are still strong numbers. 89% are meeting expectation, but it does reflect some of the challenges that we continue to see with our students and the behaviors that are coming in. But in spite of increasing challenges with behaviors, all of our direct assessment, our letter naming, the vocabulary, the overall math have all improved for these students since the beginning of year. And that is the percent of students on track with a new target. I mean, they can't just be where they were at beginning of year. They have to meet the middle of year target. So this is great that we have more students meeting this new higher target. We do have dual language in 6 of our pre-K classrooms. And remember, as we shifted to dual language and away from bilingual, our goal is not let's increase English and diminish the Spanish. It's let's bring the two, recognize both languages. So we're going to begin assessing in both languages. And what we want to see is not just that, oh, their English has improved, but we haven't maintained that first language. We do see English improving and Spanish as well. So they are maintaining that, as we refer to it, L1, that home language. Do you have any questions about pre-K? All right. I will not make you wait on me for the second report. We'll just wait on Ty. And we're going to take the next step up because this is early literacy for our kinder through second grade students. So it is tied to our strategic plan, early literacy and numeracy. Some reminders, DIBBLES is the acronym for this test that we use. And we began this year, we no longer use the benchmark assessment system. Instead, we are pairing this with our MAP data, which I brought you the MAP data meeting before last for our mid-year data. Okay, so year-to-year comparison, very tight. These are different groups of kindergartners, but that our fluctuation in performance is very small, consistent. But for this group, where this group of kindergartners were at the beginning of the year to where they are at middle of the year, again, on a higher target, we are seeing growth for all of these students. So that is great to see. This is my new favorite slide. Okay, I introduced this year for the first time as we were talking about DIBBLES, and at beginning of year, all we could do, because we say, well, we don't really have a cohort, we just got them, but we did have some of them in pre-K. And so at beginning of the year, we could separate out and say, okay, these students that attended HEB pre-K, how are they performing compared to students who did not attend HEB pre-K? I do not know for those students if they were in a pre-K, if they were at a church program or a private, or if they were home. I don't know, but they weren't with us. And so at beginning of the year, that BOY column, that's a testament to our pre-K program. Look at how strong that is compared to students who didn't. This MOY, that's a testament to our kindergarten teachers, because look at how much we've closed that gap. We went from an 18-point difference to an 8-point difference. So we'll continue to see that difference close as the longer we have them, the tighter we can get that alignment of performance. So then we move on to first grade. Very small changes when you look at previous year performance. For their own cohort, fairly consistent. Running kind of a flat line right now in DIBBLES, the English testing, but again, each time they're being held to a higher standard. So maintaining that level is getting growth from those students. We still want to see more students meet those targets. In second grade, very consistent with the previous year's group of second grade performance. This is interesting. Our Spanish and English testers have just been swapping places. We've got a little diamond pattern happening, but really it actually is starting to bring their lines closer together, and then we're seeing a little more separation here as we move towards this MOY in second grade. But if we looked at either line individually, fairly consistent performance. We just need to, it depends on what the goal is and the targets at that time. Again, dual language, we're up through second grade now, so we talked about it with pre-K. We want to look at the same thing for our dual language. These students would test in DIBBLES and Lectura, so again, I want to see both languages going up. So I do. I see for kindergarten improvement in both English and Spanish. I see the same thing at first grade. And also at second grade, a smaller line for the English, but it is an improvement. We're moving in both languages. Questions about early literacy or DIBBLES, because it's fun to say. All right. In the spirit of TV infomercials, but wait, there's more. I have one more report for you. And Reading Academy. Okay, this is the time of year when I come and let you know, we've been doing this for a while now, and every year we get new direction from TEA. Maybe it's a different requirement, maybe it's a different specification about how we enact a certain piece. So I am coming to you with our update kind of on our cohorts that we've either wrapped up since I last saw you, ones that are about to wrap up, and then our plans for moving forward. So this is tied to early literacy and numeracy because our Reading Academy works with K through 3. So as a reminder, the models that we'll use, we use the phrases local implementation. That's when we're keeping our teachers here with us with a certified cohort leader, or authorized provider if we send our teachers to Region 11. Right now, we have only been using the authorized provider for our bilingual because we do not have a bilingual cohort leader. But keep that in mind because I'm going to share some new information with you. The pathway, there's one of two pathways, comprehensive. When we first rolled out Reading Academy for our brand new to all teachers, and we said it's going to take 10 days. 10 days of training for Reading Academy, and the message from TEA at that point was, but as new students are graduating, new student teachers are graduating from college, they're going to be better prepared. They won't need all of this Reading Academy, except what they really needed was 7 days instead of 10. The Science of Teaching Reading pathway emerged at that point. So our newer teachers only need 7 days. It is not a subset. We can't put them together and say, okay, if you only need 7 days, you stay home for days 1, 2, and 3 and then come. Two separate pathways, so two different cohorts if we're going to run both of these pathways. So our cohorts that we've closed since we last were here, we had one local implementation cohort with 40 educators. We were not running a year 5 bilingual cohort because this is when we made a move from launching in September to June. It helped us line up. As a reminder, the benefit of the June launch for us, June of 2026 is still considered the 25-26 school year. The requirement is now that we're past the ramp up, we're at compliance, any new K-3 teacher must attend Reading Academy in their first year. But we are trying to not pull brand new K-3 teachers out of their classroom for 10 days. So we are launching in June, which is still their first year. They must begin Reading Academy, not complete. So we've been able to move both paths to a June launch, which lets us get those teachers' feet under them, know if they're going to still be with us in a K-3 position for the next year. Then just about to wrap up is this year's local implementation cohort. We have 34 with us here locally and 3 in the bilingual comprehensive cohort. We are still at 100% completion rate for all of our cohorts. Okay, we have really done this the right way, supporting our teachers. They see the connection between what they're learning and what is happening in their classrooms. So upcoming cohorts, this is a little more to keep up than we've had in previous years. We have 4, could potentially actually be 5 if some of our bilingual do not need all 10 days. So we have some that will stay with us, local implementation, that need that shorter path, the 7 days. We were planning to send ours that need 10 days to Region 11. We have reached kind of a critical mass of the difference of hiring our own person to do a local implementation cohort because that was the better choice than paying for each of those individuals to go. Well, now that we need 2 pathways, we're going to keep the STR, the Science of Teaching Reading cohort, local and send that comprehensive 10 days to Region 11. Bilingual will continue to go to Region 11. It always has, but we do believe that we may have a couple of participants. I'm looking at our Reading Academy. We think we have 3 of those 6 that may only need the STR path, the only 7 days. It'll still need to be through Region 11. And then we have 1 administrator, because our assistant principals and principals go through this as well. And we have 1 assistant principal who will be going through a virtual path through Region 16. So we are Reading Academying everywhere. You didn't know it was a verb, but probably not good for me to try ELA. So what does this look like for our budget? So if we are not utilizing the full staff position at the local Reading Academy cohort leader, that instead we're going to use some of that to send our participants to Region 11. But the Region 11 and the AP going to Region 16, that is still less than the salary of that cohort leader position. Amy Bettis, who's been serving dual role, English Language Arts facilitator, and she is still a certified cohort leader. She is going to keep the Science of Teaching Reading. Those are our new college graduates, because they need that shorter path. So these are also the students the teachers that we want to keep with us since they're young on their journey and make sure we're doing the coaching, the observation, and all of that mentoring here. She just can't carry the full load and the facilitator responsibilities. Whoops, excuse me. So here is what that looks like for us in money. So Our local implementation, we just pay a single cohort fee regardless of how many teachers are in there. For these, it's the STR, so we only need 7 days of substitutes. For Region 11, the comprehensive, it's going to be 10 days, and we pay per participant, not for a whole cohort. For the bilingual cohort, we pay per participant. The difference may be if some of these are able to do the STR pathway, there would be 3 less days of subs in that budget, but we always plan for our maximum, and then as we find out for sure who's coming back with us next year when we're ready to launch in June. And then our administrator does not need a substitute. So here's the net budget for all of the different pathways that we have going on with Reading Academy. Questions?
Any questions on Reading Academy?
Okay.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
We're down to 7.05, college career and military readiness. Ms. Rhodes.
Hello, I get to present our mid-year update on college career and military readiness. This aligns to our strategic plan priorities, student success, quality indicator 1 and quality indicator 4. Our CCMR indicators under college readiness is MEET, Texas Success Initiative, TSI criteria, and reading, language arts, and math. Meet criteria on AP and IB examination, and earn an associate's degree with now our newly Collegiate Academy on our 2029, with our 2029 graduates on our 2030 accountability, and graduate under an advanced diploma plan and be identified as a current special education student. Under Career Ready, earn an industry-based certification in IBC and complete an aligned program of study and earn completer status. Or graduate with completed IEP and workforce readiness. Or the indicator under Military Ready, which is enlist in the Armed Forces or Texas National Guard. Here's our performance year over year. So remember, this is a lag in year. So just to recap, class of 2023, which was on our accountability, 2024 was at 73% CCMR met. Class of 2024 on our accountability 2025, 82% CCMR met. Last year's class of 2025, at the beginning of the year, they started out the year at 42% met. Mid-year this time, they were at 55%, and we are projected that they will end at 77%. It's not final yet. This year's class of 2026, which is on our 2027 accountability, started the year at 52%, and at mid-year, 61%. As you can see, there's an increase of 10% from the beginning of each year, and about a 6% increase mid-year. This is our performance year over year. This is just a reminder that students can only attain 1 CCMR point. They may get it in different areas, but they are only counted for one of those points. So last year's class, 2025, which is not final yet, we had 1,347 students earn points out of a class of 1,749 students, which gives us our 77 predicted amount. And this current class at 2027 accountability, class of 2026, we have currently 1,035 earned CCMR points, and out of a class of 1,696, which gives us our 61%. College ready. So this is the criteria students can earn under AP and IB, a 3 or higher on an AP exam, or 4 or higher on an IB exam. Last year's class ended at 542 students meeting this criteria at 31%, where this class, current 2026, is at 582 students at 34%. Dual credit. Students must earn 3 hours in ELA or math or 9 hours in any subject. Last year's students, 21%, and this year's current class at 312 with 18%. So those do fluctuate between the number of students in each class taking AP and IB versus dual credit. So those kind of flip-flop year to year. TSIA, so this is students meeting both criteria in both reading and math. So overall, last year's class was 966 students at a 55%. This year, we're already at a 53% with this year's class. Career Ready. So I just want to remind you, I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago, Dr. Johnson did a presentation and said the field goal kept moving. Well, let's recap that field goal. So class of 2024 earned an IBC plus one course aligned to a program of study. Class of 2025 had to earn an IBC plus become a concentrator in an aligned program of study. That means 2 or more courses for at least 2 credits in the same study program. And this year's class have to earn an IBC plus become a completer aligned in the program of study. That's 3 or more courses for 4 more credits, including 1 level 3 or level 4 course in the same program of study. So that's what you saw with that 82% to the 77, which now, moving on to our IBCs. So that lets you see, now we can see last year's students met at 403, met the IBC at 23%. And as you can see, the year over time, it has decreased because the goal line moved for their IBCs. This year's class, having to be completer status, we're at 16 students with 0.9%. So I wanted to give you a comparison. So if we looked at last year's students meeting this year's criteria, we would have been at 93 at a 5.3%. Graduate with completed IEP and workforce readiness, special ed, and advanced degree program. This is pretty steady. We had 76 students meet in each area at a 4.3%. And this is not, we can't progress monitor this because this is based on graduation status. Military ready. So this, students can meet in military ready by enlisting in the armed forces or the Texas National Guard. And we received that data by the Department of Defense, and that begins with this class. So right now, last year we were at a 0.8%.
Didn't the requirement used to be that you had to pass the ASVAB?
So, correct. And so now that is now a new requirement. So if our JROTC students complete that program of study and pass the ASVAB with a number, and we don't have that specific number, then they can earn this CCMR credit in this area. So we project that that number will go up in the
It's
future.
not consistent to say they have to actually join, because that's like saying we can't get college readiness until they actually enroll in their first class. I mean,
This
doesn't
is,
make sense.
if I'm not mistaken, this is join, enlist, not just pass. So this is just a recap of all the information that I just went over, and you can see that progression over time and where we are mid-year. This is our timeline of supports that we've done since 2024. So it starts with 2023, the implementation of Zello. And then we go into spring 2024, where we enrolled seniors into TSI English and Math. So these are embedded in the master schedule, taught by a teacher, not an online program, and embedded Texas College Bridge certificate for our students. We added dual credit. We expanded the dual credit with MOUs to McMurray University. Thank you very much. And established a CCMR committee to make sure all of our high schools were aligned in our systems. In 2025, we hired a CCMR specialist and added Zello additions. The CCMR specialist provides individualized support to our seniors to connect them with post-secondary opportunities. And the expansion for Zello is to support our student planning and tracking of our CCMR outcomes. This fall, We expanded, again, thank you, our MOU to Tarleton State University for Tarleton Today, where we have juniors enrolled in a dual credit U.S. history class taught by our own HEB-ISD teachers. And we've had rave reviews from students, parents, and teachers participating in this program. Open our collegiate academy with 97 students. I want to brag on them just a little bit. We had our IIMs a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. Givens set his goal at 70% of his 97 students passing TSI in one or both criteria. They are at 29%, with 16 students away from passing by retaking their writing test. So he is possibly projected to meet his 70% at the end of the year. He didn't know that a first year of collegiate academy, that only 25% of the students meet that criteria in the first year. He said maybe had he known that, he may not have projected high. But see what high expectations get you. Bell Trinity and Keys offer TSI English math courses to seniors not identified as college ready, and Keys students will graduate with TSI or Texas College Bridge, which this was mainly focused for IBCs. So we had to look at a different way, and he's 100% now with all 35 of his graduates. Spring 2026, early identification of TSI, so we started that. Met students by testing now early in the 10th grade and 11th grade at the end of English 3, geometry, and algebra, so that will happen this spring. And then we started our 8th grade student parents conferences at the junior highs to learn more about their graduation requirements, career exploration, post-secondary planning through Zello, and then 4-year course plan aligned with the program of study and IBC. It's a lot of information. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Let me just make one comment too. On the career base, when we were talking about the completer, that really is posing some issues. It's making it very difficult for a child who changes their mind and moves into a different field to have enough room in their schedule to get all of those classes in. And we're trying to prioritize them getting the certification, not necessarily getting an entry-level class, and some of them are finishing up without it. And so while they have everything they need, they're not getting counted as a check mark, even though they've passed the certification. So we are hoping that we can see some relief on that. I think people are starting to see what it is causing. I think they had some concerns about students being funneled through programs that weren't really their program. That's not the case for the vast majority of the schools. And so I'm hoping that we could see something on there. But right now, that is posing a real issue in those kids being what we think would be properly accounted for, because they have obtained that certification.
Yeah, I just thought that military readiness that they actually have to enlist to be counted was ridiculous, because our job's to get them ready, just not to make them walk through the door. I mean, we can't, we can't say someone isn't career ready until they actually get a job. We got to just get them to a certain point. But
well, we are excited about the ROTC now counting. So if the
that's
ROTC kids go through the program, get whatever that score might be, but to get credit for those kids will be of great benefit for us.
all right, thank you, Katina.
Thank you.
All right, athletics update. Coach Fielder. And Ty, I don't know if you need to note for the minutes, but Mr. Cargile let me know that he had to be at a game that it got rescheduled, so that's why he left it. I think he left at 7:20.
Good evening. I'm going to bring you the athletic update. And this was actually, we were going to give it to you a couple of weeks ago, and Bell had a playoff basketball game and played really well, by the way. North Crowley beat them, and North Crowley is playing tomorrow night, and if they win that, they go to the state championship. So Bell lost to a very worthy opponent. But anyways, glad to be here to give you this update. So we're talking about from the strategic plan, student success, quality indicator number 5, learning opportunities. All campuses will provide students opportunities to participate in clubs, organizations, and enrichment activities. This is our mission statement, philosophy, and objectives. It's online. It's also in the coach's handbook, and we've had this in place, or at least a form of it. It's changed. It's varied a little bit, revised from time to time, but since about 09-10. So it's been in place for quite a while, at least the bulk of it. This is a department overview. This is what we do out of the athletic office at Pennington Field. We have a 4-person staff. That'd be myself, the athletic director. We have a bookkeeper, a secretary, and a stadium manager. And then, of course, all of our campuses have athletic coordinators, 1 at each high school, and then 5 for the boys, 5 for the girls at each junior high. We support 175 athletic coaches. We also support PE teachers, coaches from K through 12. We have 3 PE coordinators that help us with that, and we have over 60 PE coaches and teachers' assistants. At Pennington Field, we have 3 custodians. We have 2 part-time game operations. That would be Dave Sammons and Chris Jensen. Between those 2, they have 70 years of varsity football coaching experience, so they know how to put out fires. We have, depending on who's playing on a given night, we'll have between 60 and 75 workers. That's anything from concession workers to ticket takers to attendants at the gate or up the aisles. We manage the athletics budget, the PE budget, and the stadium budget. We take care of all rentals district-wide for athletic facilities, including the Pennington parking lot, which is rented quite often. We also manage all of our athletic venues, and of course we get a big assist from Josh in maintenance when things go wrong. Whenever we had 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had the freeze, we came up here and found that we had some frozen pipes over at Pennington, so here came maintenance to bail us out. But on a day-to-day basis, we're managing Pennington Field, the Central Complex, where we have football, soccer, and track and field. The FEW gym. The FEW gym, if you're, I'm sure many of you are aware, it was part of the original LD Bell, opened in 1955, so 71 years old. We had our last event this past Thursday, and we were actually, Friday we were going to move out of there and move over to the new Williams Activity Center, but the forecast scared us. We didn't want to get the equipment out into the rain, so we pushed that till April. But anyway, so yeah, the FEW gym was the original LD Bell. It then became the Central Junior High gym, and the FEW gymnastics gym for quite a while. And now we're going to be closing it, and Josh will be taking it down soon. As we know, we've acquired the Williams Activity Center. Gymnastics will go over there. We also have gymnastics on the second floor at Pennington Field. Upstairs, if you've had an opportunity to go over there, we also have a fitness gym along with the gymnastics, and then there's a swimming pool there. It's a 5-lane pool. Also Meadow Parks, where we run our cross country. We're the 4-6A district chair, where we handle the schedules and bylaws for the high school district. We handle PAPFs, that's the eligibility documents, and when we have when there's disputes on eligibility, we host those hearings. For events or ball games, we handle the schedules, the makeups, officials, game workers, PA video. We contract trainers if our own trainers aren't handling it, online ticketing, concessions, and of course Periweather. We also take care of the Big 12. Our Big 12 conference is us, our 5 schools, and Birdville's 7 middle schools makes 12. We call it since 2006. We've been with Birdville to do that. We take care of the district UIL compliance and eligibility calendar. We handle the coaches' UIL and bus certifications. We handle homeschool athletes and vetting them and getting them in place. Hands-only CPR, fitnessgram, age group gymnastics, MACYAC and Six Stones. Six Stones, of course, does the League of Soccer. And that basically we allot gyms and fields to these youth leagues. We take care of, through our office, we take care of the summer camps, strength and conditioning. We take care of the Hall of Fame, which you've seen in the corridor of the stadium. We also have, we have input on the construction and design and the FF&E, going back to when we designed and built the indoor facilities up through now the athletic areas that we're building as we speak. And then we support the contracts of our TCC pool. You know, years ago we had our own pool that came down, that we filled it up with dirt in 2012, and we now have a contract with TCC. We take care of the Nike and BSN contracts, Texas Health Video Board. We have another, just over a year left on that. The Coca-Cola contract, that's also Powerade and Body Armor, the UFL contract, and now, as of this past fall, the Simon's Flags and Poles. Athletic participation, that's how many kids participate in athletics. One thing I will note, with VPA, because I know Christine came in here a month or two ago and did just a bang-up job on her presentation, and her numbers were really good on participation. And the thing is, she has the advantage of those kids in elementary school. They're in VPA. We don't have athletics in elementary school, so they get a head start. But we're doing great. Nearly half of our junior high, and junior high right now is 7th and 8th grade, because our 9th graders are going to the high school. And 40% of high schoolers, so 41% of our kids in our schools in the secondary participate in athletics, and we're proud of that. Athletic impact, Lauren Allen helped me with this. I'm happy to say that our weighted GPA and our daily average attendance is better than the non-athletes, and that's both at both high schools. Athletic opportunities for the high schools, we have 14 opportunities for the boys and 15 for the girls. The 15th came in just not long ago with the girls flag football. And then for the junior highs, we have 7 offerings for the boys and 9 for the girls. Cheerleading and, cheerleading and soccer are the 2 the boys don't have at the junior highs. Now, technically, a boy could be in cheer as a middle schooler, but we just don't have that. Usually they start cheering in the high school. We have a few boys that do cheer at the high school. District competition. For the last couple of years, we've been in 4-6A, and it's a competitive district, but more than that, it's a 9-team district. And that's whenever 4 of 9 go to the playoffs, you're talking about less than half. Moving forward, we're going to be in an 8-team district. It's going to be 8-6A, and that puts us on par with most other districts. The ideal number is 8, and that's what we'll be in for the next few years. So 8 is better than 9. Our Big 12, which I mentioned, it has our 5 junior highs and Birdville's 7 middle schools. We've been in that conference for quite a while. Athletic events. Again, the junior high is 7th and 8th grade, and the high school's 9th through 12th. So we have over 2,500 times we have a first pitch, a kickoff, a tip-off, a first tee, different events that our kids. So that means that we are setting up a game, getting officials, in some cases making sure we got ticket takers depending on the event. Again, I mentioned officials, making sure we have uniforms, making sure our coaches are trained. But we host, or our kids, it may be a host, it may be an away game, but our kids start 2,500 different events, over 2,500. Postseason participation, and this goes to student success, quality indicator 5 again, and goal 2, 60% or more of all of our varsity athletic teams will advance to postseason competition. From 18 to 24, we had 75% on average over those 6 years. As you know, last year we took a step backward and 46% in 24-25, and I talked a little bit about that district. I'll give you an example. This past fall in volleyball, well, let's go back over a year ago. UIL decided to split Division I and Division II. We've always done that for football, and now we do it for every sport. Well, coming out of District 4-6A, South Lake Carroll won the big school or the Division I volleyball state championship, and Byron Nelson won the Division II or the small school state championship. Very competitive district, and as I, the next bar right there takes that 24-25 year, packs it in with the 18 through 24, and over those 7 years, we still had 70% on average of our teams advance. This year to date, we are not quite halfway through. Now, most seasons have at least started, but we have not completed all of our seasons by any stretch. And as a matter of fact, we're at 10 out of the possible 20 have advanced, which is 50%. The total number that we grade per se is 22 for Bell, 22 for Trinity, which is 44. And as you can see, right now, we're 10 of 20, so we've got 24 seasons left to finish, if that makes sense. State champions, and keep in mind, there's 247 6A schools, and this is going back to last spring, whenever we finished the year. We have Caleb Adam. He was state champion triple jumper, and you may recognize that lower right slide. Christine had it on hers. She mentioned the fact that he was both a musician and an athlete, and I'll do the same. Caleb also played football, plays basketball, is a defending state champ triple jumper, and plays in the band. We have Courtney Shaw, who was got a 10 on the vault, defending state champion vault and all around. And one thing I'll note about these two kids, they are both Trinity coaches' children, so that's pretty cool. We now have Maddie Thomas. She's Bell. She's now a senior, state champion in the floor exercise. And then Maliana, she's a state champion wrestler from Trinity. Very proud of those kids. As a matter of fact, Maliana just a few weeks ago went back to the state tournament, state wrestling, and she got third this year. So she made another great showing and left with another medal. Hidden numbers. I want y'all to know that in the summers, from little kids to incoming seniors, we have over 3,000 kids that participate in our camps. That may be the summer camp, that may be the strength and conditioning camp. New to us this year is 40 kids, 40 females, 40 girls playing flag football. Last year we had over 5,700 kids that the majority of those were in athletics or PE, both which come under our umbrella at Pennington. Over 5,700 kids learned hands-only CPR, and I know that's big to Dr. Harrington. That's a big goal that we have. We had over this past winter, we had over 1,600 kids from all different schools, from I think 76 schools that participated in the Trojan Classic wrestling, and I've got a slide in a second I'll show you. It's pretty impressive. Over 30 kids earned scholarships, which earned over $1 million towards those kids' freshman years. And then I talked a little bit earlier about age group gymnastics. We have 50 to 65 kids per week show up in our gym. It's on the second floor at Pennington Field to participate in that. It's tumbling for little kids. And I want you to know, this used to be pre-COVID, it was a very strong program. COVID just about wiped it out for a year or two, and we're really back strong again. And Becky Shaw is a big reason why. She's really worked hard at that. And then, as you'll remember, when Bell and Trinity played back in November, we had over 1,100 kids participate in that game. A lot of them were football players, but a lot more of them weren't. And I've got a slide for that as well. This is the game. You can see we got our junior ROTC involved in holding the flag. We've got our honor choir singing, and then, of course, the bands at halftime, the football players, the trainers. Also involved in that, and that number I gave you, are people or kids who might be running a camera or up there in the video booth helping produce the game. That's the Trojan Classic. There are 12 mats. It's hard to see. I was up on the deck taking that picture. I couldn't get it all, but there are 12 mats, and Travis does a heck of a job organizing such an event. It's really, really impressive. Over, as I mentioned, like over 770 kids involved. Girls flag football, this was at Bell. This was the very first ever girls flag football practice. Signing day at Trinity. Hands-only CPR at Hurst. Age group gymnastics for our little ones, and again, that's the second floor at Pennington. And that was a summer camp for Bell girls basketball. Andy Bloodworth hosted that, and you can see it's a pretty good showing. On the horizon, homeschool athletes. Right now we have 2 kids that have gone, that they and their families have pushed it through, gone start to finish. We have 1 swimmer at Bell and 1 golfer at Trinity. I expect this number to go up. We get calls pretty regularly now about homeschool athletics, and because the rule, the law will not allow them to come in midstream from a public school and start as a homeschooler and participate, we expect a lot of the phone calls we're getting, kids will begin with us next year. So our number is currently 2, and it'll go up to a handful, and then I think it'll grow from there. I mentioned FEW gym. We were to have finished, or actually we were to have moved out of there last Thursday, but now that'll be in April. Girls Flag Football League's coming up. It starts on the 28th. It'll finish on May the 9th. And we'll be hosting a game at one Saturday at Pennington Field. They'll play 2 games each Saturday. We are grouped with our 2 schools, Carrollton Farmers Branch 4 schools, and Irving's 3 schools. So it's a 9-team district, which 8 would be better, but we're in a new 9-team district for girls flag football, and it's fairly local. Several months ago, I came to you and we talked about naming facilities after folks. Y'all have done that officially, and we're grateful for that. We will now have the ceremonies at each venue, and that'll be coming up in April and May, and of course you'll get an invitation. And 8-6A we talked about. We're excited about that. We being an 8-team district, and we expect to do well. And then coming up here in about a year and a half, we're looking at beginning a water safety program over at the Debbie Williams Activity Center in that pool that you see on the right. And the way that would work is we would try to get either a focus on 3rd graders or 4th graders, and get those kids, basically every kid in the district, to come through that pool right there and learn how to swim and learn water safety. Any questions?
Mr. Fielder, as perhaps the nerdiest, least affluent parent that doesn't participate in these awesome activities you have, I got to say this is the best and most complete overview of your department. It's just hats off to you. This was good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I must say that we have a great team. We have a great team. We've got folks that veterans, but we've got people that are invested and that work hard. But thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions?
Can I add one thing? Mike mentioned the FEW gym. There is a final walkthrough of the FEW gym that will be scheduled April 11th. And so that last tour of the gym of the original LD Bell, Deanne will be getting that pushed out onto Facebook and some of the alumni pages.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready to review some regular board meeting agenda items. 8.01, financial statements for the month of January 2026. Mr. Williams.
All right. Wow, how do you follow that? Great job, Coach. It is my pleasure to bring to you the financial statements ending January 31st, 2026, the 5th month of the financial Big 12. It's the best I can do. So let's start with the general fund. General fund, we have a fund balance of $243,127,413. That represents revenues over expenditures of $67,542,967. Investment interest through this period was $2,369,920. Expenditures as of January 31st were at 39.08, so below our threshold of 50% or 42%, whether you're looking at 10 or 12 months there. So this fund is performing just as we expect it to. Nothing exciting, but just as we expect it to. The general fund matrix, we have payroll in the amount of $82,483,321 for the period, ending for the period that is currently at 83.7%. Utilities are at $2,339,727 or 2.4%. Instructional supplies are at $1,434,783 or 1.5%. And then other expenditures of $2,726,880, we're at 2.8, which, as I say every month, includes our property insurance, which is the biggest piece of that, $2.6 million. Child Nutrition Fund, we have a fund balance of $8,205,242. That represents revenues over expenditures in the amount of $883,992. Investment interest in that fund as of this reporting period was $74,805,000. Total expenditures were at 32.47%, so well within our thresholds. That department continues to operate as it is expected. Debt Service Fund, we have a fund balance of $87,104,981. That's revenue over expenditures in the amount of $62,050,763. Interest revenue for this as of the end of the period was at $562,553. As you can see, the debt service revenues have started creeping up there with our tax collections. That the majority of them have come in now, but we'll continue to get them throughout the remainder of our fiscal year. First debt payment was made on before the due date of February 15th in the amount of $18,338,525, and then that second debt payment in the amount of $58,868,525 will be made prior to the August 15th due date, for a total debt service in the year of $77,207,050. Tuition-based pre-K fund has a fund balance of $467,791. That's revenues over expenditures in the amount of $138,545. I think we finally got those expenditures reclassified in our revenues from the changes made by free pre-K for teachers. So now that we've flipped that over, where we're not having more expenditures than revenues. So we're in good shape there. As of 8/1/31, we were at 18.51% of the budget. So that program is performing as expected. Special revenue funds, we were at 21.84% of the budget, well within the range of our parameters on that fund. And as I say every month, our expenditures lag on that fund due to TEA reimbursements lagging behind. We spend it first, collect from them later. But the programs are tracking as expected. Campus Activity Fund balance of $4,470,194. That's revenues over expenditures in the amount of $1,035,346. Revenues were at $2,079,353, while the expenditures were at $1,044,006 for this reporting period. These funds are operating as expected. The bond fund, we have a fund balance of $423,977,805. We have expenditures in excess of revenues in the amount of $63,119,869. We will, like I say, we will be looking at a future date to sell the rest of those bonds. But as you can see right now, we still have a fairly healthy amount of funds sitting in that account. So we're going to try to push that back as far as we can to capitalize on market conditions before we sell those next set of bonds. locally defined fund, we have a fund balance of $30,628,772. Revenues over expenditures in the amount of $99,192, which is unusual. We usually don't have revenues greater than expenditures, but our interest revenues are good, and we haven't been spending a lot of money out of this fund, but we'll fix that soon. We'll be bringing stuff back to you here pretty soon, but that fund is operating as expected also. That should be it. Any questions?
Any questions on financial statements? All right, 8.02, budget transfers and amendment request.
Okay. We have budget transfers this month. This is pretty routine, function-to-function transfers. The biggest one that we've got there is $20,000, which was for a part-time school psychologist for special ed. The rest of them are just moving some money around to get some things done. Any questions on that?
Any questions on the budget transfers? Thank you, Dobie. 8.03, instructional materials purchase, grades K through 12 mathematics. Dr. Norgard.
So last month you approved our title for adoption, having gone through our adoption process. I'm bringing you tonight the quotes to make these purchases for the next 2 years.
Right.
Any questions?
On the quotes? All right, and then same thing for instructional materials purchase?
Phonics is, I brought last year, but we only did a 1-year adoption. We're looking at doing a second year for that.
Okay. Any questions on 8.04? All right, thank you. 8.05, payment to Birdville ISD for the Regional Day School Program for the Deaf. Mr. Kerbo.
Good evening, board members. This is our routine payment to the Birdville Regional School for the Deaf. We don't operate a deaf program, so we transport them over there. We've got 23 students receiving services there now. This reflects a slight increase in services of, I think, $725 per student, not out of the ordinary, and it hasn't increased in at least 4 years that I've been here. I've looked back as far as I could, but that's within a normal range.
All right, any questions on these payments? Okay, ready for action items. 9.01, consider approval of donations for the March regular board meeting presentation of certificates of appreciation. I'll accept a motion.
I move the board approve the March 2026 donations as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the March 2026 donations as presented. Please vote. It's blinking on and off, is it? Okay, that motion passes. 9.02, consider approval of 2026-2027 employment calendar dates. Ms. Tuttle.
All right. I know our employees are very eager to make their plans for next year, and so tonight we're bringing you our employment calendar dates, and this represents multiple employee calendars that we receive feedback from each division leader and department leader on. Any questions?
Any questions on the employment calendars? Then I'll accept a motion.
I move that the board approve the 2026-2027 employment calendar dates as submitted.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the 2026-2027 employment calendar dates as submitted. Please vote. And that motion passes. 9.03, consider approval of revisions to board policy EIF local academic requirements graduation.
So we have added some verbiage under a category called end-of-course exams that addresses the requirement for graduating classes of 2028 and 2029 to complete the English 2 end-of-course exam to graduate. And we're just adding this to really emphasize the importance of this exam so that it's very clear that this is not something to This is something to give their best effort to because it really does count. And so this verbiage has been added during this time period until we get past 2029 for that purpose. Are there any questions?
All right. Any questions on the policy change? Then I'll accept the motion.
I move that the board approve the revisions to board policy EIF local as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the revisions to board policy EIF local as submitted. Please vote. And that motion passes. 9.04, consider approval of submitted contracts, MOUs, agreements related to HB 3372.
And the only thing I'll add on this is that this is just being done in a spirit of transparency. This is not actually a requirement. There's no compensation being provided to this individual. But again, in the spirit of transparency, it's been provided to you for your review.
All right, any questions? I'll accept the motion.
After reviewing the contracts, MOUs, agreements between the following individual administrators and education businesses, open enrollment charter schools, or regional service centers, I move that the board approve the contracts as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the contracts, MOU agreements between the following individual administrators and education businesses, open enrollment charter schools, or regional service centers as submitted. Please vote. And that motion passes. 9.05, consider approval of memorandum of understanding with Drum Corps International. You have anything to say to it?
This is just a renewal. They love it here. We love having them. And so we have an opportunity to host them again.
All right. Any questions? All right. I'll accept the motion.
I move that the board approve the memorandum of understanding, DCI, as submitted.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the memorandum of understanding, DCI, as submitted. Please vote. That motion passes. 9.06, consider approval of stipulated sum price for Bell Manor Elementary School replacement campus. Mr. Minor.
I was so excited to bring this one to you that I tried jumping the line. So yes, this will be our last school replacement. After this, we'll just have the remodel repurpose of Bell Manor, but we'd like to bring this to you for recommendation for approval.
All right. Any questions?
You have any questions? I can explain the change.
Yeah, I think we'd like to know a little bit more about it.
So we start off with a GMP, guaranteed maximum price. We moved to lump sum on this, and this would provide us savings. The way you get that savings to is it's the hedge. We would get that money most likely at the end through buyout and other ways. This allows George to go ahead and move quicker, just get to secure their contractors, their subs, and they have those prices, and they're able to push that savings up front to us now.
So it lowers the overall contingency, or?
No, contingency will stay the same. This savings is in addition to the contingency we already have.
What is this allowing jurors to do that they can't under the GMP?
So part of the process would be that when they would go out and get their bids, I would sit in the room and we go through all that together at a later date once you guys approve that, but this will allow us to pull that forward. They've already received their bids and they're able to go ahead and secure those at this time and give letters of recommendation out. I also have Joris in the room as well, so Scott could also come up and explain that.
So I didn't bring a slide, but if you remember Mr. Fielder's overview slide with all those bullet points for 3 columns. So essentially what I'm required to do under statement of risk to get contracts and do billings, it takes 2 more columns for us to do that versus having 1 column. We've done hard bid for the district for the first 14 jobs we did before the high schools and these projects, and the first 2 we're doing now on the elementary schools are lump sum. Being a partner of the district, understanding that there's some other projects you want to spend that money on, I'm hedging more than what some want us to in the room that I'm going to give back. So our GMP was for 1.3 million more than this, so we cut that number by 1.3 to give you that stipulated sum. Our team will still contract the same, do everything the same. You're just able to get that money now versus see them at risk. If they guarantee maximum price for all that scope, you wouldn't get that whatever money comes back out of that until fourth quarter next year, 2027, when it gets that done. But it's a lot. So if you want some more specifics on that, so basically if I have, from the budget number, if I was over on drywall, but I was under on paint, so I took money from drywall to give to paint, I have to track all of that and get signatures associated with all that. If I then get to flooring and realize the flooring, we put stained floor on the flooring guy, but that really goes back to the paint guy again, then I have to record all of that, just to track all that and make sure it gets signed off on. When the pay apps come in, they have to have signed, notarized documents from all the subs for liens and conditional, unconditional liens associated with all that. A lot of the subs we work with aren't used to that for us, so it's been a learning process on Wilshire. The bigger subs that we have on the high schools are more used to that aspect. So there's some consideration I'm expecting to get from the subs to cut down on their admin work associated with this number as well. So it's more of a timing thing. I know working with the district, there's some projects that have come up they need funds for. This will be the last one we're starting, so it'll be the last one you get that money back from. So we're just pulling that forward. We're happy to go either way with the district, but I understand there were some needs that came up. We're just trying to help give you that money now so that when Mr. Williams comes up, you're seeing that 1.3 million now, not next year.
So it sounds like the system we're under now requires high overhead, and this system requires low overhead, which creates a savings for us.
Yeah, it's a lot more oversight associated with it, a lot more admin on our side. And then, yeah, it's just a timing thing where I can take the risk and say, I can get that now. And a lot of things, we bid these jobs January 15th. The musical industry standards holding it good for 30 days. We're over that 30 days. There's been a few things happen since January 15th that don't have people excited, but y'all been a good partner to us, so I'm willing to take that risk on making sure that we're going to do better than that. So if you look at the Wilshire job, essentially you're going to get, we hope, around that kind of money back on Wilshire, but you won't get it back until the demo of the phase 2 of the school, and we close that out and get retainage on that. So I'm kind of using Wilshire as kind of a benchmark too for when I'm putting that number on.
Do we have the draft stipulate some contract?
It should match the first two on that, so we should be able to use that draft that the lawyer used. I understand they've already been contacted for that. So we switched the stipulated sum on the first two.
Is it coming back to us, or are we giving you approval to sign it?
It'll come back to y'all for a signature.
It will?
Yes.
So we're happy to do it either way. I was just trying to do what I understand would be a benefit to us and also the mental health of my accountant. Do not have to put this pay apps together. I can say I tried.
So if the contract's coming back to us, what are we approving tonight?
So you'd be approving to go ahead and move forward, and then once we bring that contract back for signature.
We don't have the contract tonight?
No, that's what we're saying. He's working on the draft and to be able to bring that back.
So we're approving something that we don't have yet. We're approving.
Moving the stipulated sum, and that will give Joris the
So-
moving forward.
So we're approving a change instead of, or I don't know the right verbiage. We're changing the method.
From GMP to a stipulated lump sum. And then also, the cost that we'd be working through the contract as well.
Yeah. So we change the method now. That lets us get a contract. If we don't like the contract, then we can vote to change it back, or how does that work?
We can do that, but the stipulated sum is going to be what is presented tonight, that amount there with the 1.2 million savings.
1.3.
1.3, pardon me. See, we've already saved another 100,000.
All right. So is there a downside to the district? Is there any extra risk that we're taking?
No, not from what I can tell. This is the fourth time Juris has bid this subcontract package out, so they're very familiar with what the anticipated savings are going to be. So if it was a new contractor, yes, we wouldn't do this. We'd do it differently. But Juris is familiar with this. The subcontractors that they've lined up for this, for the most part, have been working on Midway Park, Hurst-Hills, Wilshire, and they'll be doing the same work for Bell Manor. So they're quite confident they'll be able to accelerate that savings up front, and changing it to a stipulated sum allows them to do that and move more fluidly through the project.
Okay.
Are we changing the projected total project cost?
It was originally projected at 53 million, a little over that. Now it's at 52, whatever. What's our
Not the
number?
construction cost, the total. project cost.
We're within our construction budget, aren't we, Josh?
Yes.
Yeah.
We projected 54 million.
You're talking about including soft
No,
cost and FF&E and
Yes,
everything.
That's not changing the total project of $63 million cost, is it?
No.
So the stipulated sum brings it down 1.3, but the total project cost remains the same?
Yeah, because the total project cost isn't in Juris's control, right? That's,
Correct. And so the other thing too would be, you may have some other percentages as that drops. Typically, your FF&E is going to come down on the budget as well. So that's where we've had the situation before where we changed something, it's all percentage based, then we could be rolling some of that back as well. But
Project that to happen?
if we pull back 1.3 million, it's not going to be significant. Like I said, we're going to keep it right around that 53 million mark is where it's going to be.
Okay.
any additional questions? All right, then I'll accept the motion.
I move the board approve the stipulated sum price for Bell Manor Elementary Replacement Campus as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the stipulated sum price for Bell Manor Elementary Replacement Campus as presented. Please vote. All right, that motion passes. 9.07, consider approval of RFQ 26-02 for furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Hurst-Hills Elementary School.
Well, as we've talked about before, when you near the completion of a project or getting there, then FF&E requests start to come in. And this is, I think, our third one within the last 6 months, certainly within the last 2 months. And this is one that we prepared and submitted to multiple vendors for Hurst-Hills. We compiled a room list and furnishing requirements, submitted it out, got 6 responses, and evaluated them. Indico Sales was the apparent vendor for the majority of the furnishings. We are recommending the pre-K and certain special ed furnishings to be awarded to Lakeshore Learning. And they've done pre-K packages for furnishings and the manipulatives that go along with those for the various specialty programs at those grade levels. So we're going to continue that. So once we completed our initial evaluation and tabulation, we went back to Indico asking for additional savings based on projecting this for the remaining elementary schools. And this will serve as the model for those. And we got a renewed quote for $999,033. So what was presented to you tonight is actually more than what the actual proposal will be. We'll experience similar savings to that based on just the quantities and the room counts and the different programs at the other schools. But for the most part, that will be the same for what it will be for the remaining schools, for both Indico Sales and for Lakeshore Learning. So, Mr. Brown, your suggestion for getting value from multiple processes, consolidating those, has been applied to this, and we think we're going to get great value with them.
Thanks, sir.
All right, so were these, was this an open bid or were these bought from a co-op?
These are cooperative purchases. We call it RFQ because what we did was identified our existing vendors that we have used before. They're all approved under either cooperative bids or bids that we have already awarded. And that became the corral that we played in, so to speak. So we submitted it to them. I think we solicited 8 or 10 vendors and got 6 responses. 4 actually were viable responses that provided us complete pricing. And so this will be, I think, a combination of buy-board contracts for Indico and then maybe the same for Lakeshore. It might be our RFP 21-11 for instructional materials.
All right. Any other questions? I'll accept the motion.
I move the board approve RFQ 26-02 for furniture, fixture, and equipment for Hurst Hills Elementary School and award purchase to Indico Sales and Lakeshore Learning as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve RFQ 26-02 for furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Hurst Hills Elementary School and award this purchase to Indico Sales Incorporated and Lakeshore Learning Incorporated as presented. Please vote. All right, that motion passes. 9.08, consider approval of fund designation for warehouse truck purchase.
We presented this item to you at the December board meeting. Y'all graciously approved it, but we failed to include or identify the fund source this will be coming from. So December 15th, y'all voted to approve to allocate the funds, but we just neglected to tell you which funds. So when we went to put the requisition in, Mr. Jones was stingy and said, well, you don't have a fund designated. So there's checks and balances there for you. So this is to identify this to coming out of the locally defined capital project budget.
Yeah, that Mr. Jones always has our back.
Correct.
All right. Any questions? I'll accept the motion.
I move that the board approve allocating funds for the 2025-2026 locally defined capital project fund in the amount of $125,000 for the purchase of the warehouse delivery truck as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve allocating funds from the 2025-2026 locally defined capital projects fund in the amount of $125,000 for the purchase of the warehouse delivery truck as presented. Please vote. And that motion passes. We are down to other business. Does any board member have something they'd like added to a future board agenda?
I don't have anything to add, but I have a suggestion. So at the next board meeting, I'm going to sing the praises because I got to walk with, me and Becky got to walk with Josh and spend 3 hours and look at construction. And it's really different to see it in person and as opposed to seeing it. And I'll tell you more about that next time. And Becky got to ask 100 questions. And Josh and team and the crew chiefs are pulling off miracles on a daily basis, just phenomenal. I can't say enough about how good it is. However, that being said, I think, and we see a little bit of this, a suggestion is we're gonna get to an area really quickly as this project is so massive where maybe, Joe, we need a little Friday update of things that would affect the staff or public, or heaven forbid, things that start slipping that we may need to know about. I'll give you an example. And again, this isn't a criticism. I'm just thinking as a governing body, we may need to know this. Let's say we're going to move keys over the spring break, but scheduling is off by just a little bit and it needs to move to Easter. There are things that are getting ready to happen that are totally within the margin of error, and they're fabulous, and no problem. But I'm kind of thinking occasionally we might need to know that, Joe, just as a heads up, when it affects either staff or students, or I can't imagine that this is going to go so perfectly between now and 2029 or 2030 that there may be some communication needs to happen between board meetings that I think could be easily resolved within a Friday update. So it's just a suggestion that I saw after spending 3 hours of seeing. There are things I think that we asked that maybe we might not have known about. And they're handled wonderfully, but they might need to be known about as it starts affecting students and staff.
That's why they're giving us tours and stuff too.
True, and I highly recommend the tour.
All right.
It was
okay, so
phenomenal.
No motion. You don't have a motion to
No, I just have a
add
suggestion.
something? Okay. All right. Let's see. Board activity chart, everything looks pretty well covered for the next month. We don't need another closed session. All right, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.